Time for an unpopular opinion. This was the very first microphone that I recommended way back in my first video. It's the Blue Snowball ICE. Now, was I on drugs? Was this the dumbest thing that I could have ever done starting out a review channel with this recommendation? Well, let's find out, shall we? Generally speaking, the issues I have with Blue microphones stems from the Yeti. Now, I'm not necessarily calling it a bad mic, as this thing is, well, worse. By the way, if you did miss my review/rant, you can find it up here. In a nutshell, the Blue Yeti was horrible for what it was aimed to be when it was released. It was basically sold as a dual mic that, well, underperformed, and it was rather expensive at that. It sounded okay, but it didn't exactly have longevity, and it will not live up to its price. That was the biggest issue, which in the end meant that the price to performance was not exactly what I would have called a good buy. Now, the price has come down since it launched, and that isn't necessarily the case anymore, but I do stand by my original statement. You can do better, Blue. So then, if the Yeti was such trash, how could I go about and recommend this microphone? Well, before we get into that, let's go over the microphone and see what it's all about. The build is, oh, it's okay. It's all hard plastic, which, not really cheap, but it doesn't exactly feel premium either. There's a chunky USB connection in the back, and you might notice there's nothing else, most notably, no headphone jack. Probably the biggest downfall of this microphone. The stand that comes with it is kind of confusing. As you notice, if you're to put it on a desk, you're going to be aiming that mic at your chest. Not exactly the best placement for a mic. And lastly, there's that tiny little red light to tell you that the mic is powered. I guess, nice touch. The specs on this thing are, it's a cardioid condenser microphone, which it's 16-bit depth and a sample rate of 44.1. And well, it's pretty much all the stats there are online. Now, I'm going to have to say, if you do go with the slightly more expensive Snowball non-ice version, you will end up with cardioid Omni as well as cardioid with a 10 dB pad. If you're only spending a few dollars on this mic at this price point, I mean, you do you. You spend the money the way you want to. But the Snowball ICE is probably your best bet. Time for the off-axis rejection of the Blue Snowball. This is me speaking directly into the front of the Blue Snowball ICE from about 6 inches away. Now I'm speaking directly into the side of the Blue Snowball ICE, and this is how it sounds. Now I'm speaking directly into the rear of the Blue Snowball ICE, and this is how it sounds. Now to test the plosive rejection of the Blue Snowball ICE, and I fear this is going to be horrendous. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Oh my god, what a difference that made! Wow! Now for a proximity effect test of the Blue Snowball ICE. This is me speaking about 5 inches off the front of the microphone. Now I'm speaking about 1 inch off the front of the microphone. 5 inches, 1 inch. 5 inches, 1 inch. See, the problem with condenser microphones is you need them close to your sound hole on your face. If they're not, it's not going to sound great because it's picking up audio that might be coming from the back wall, or it's picking up audio that might be coming in from the sides after reflecting. So it's not getting your true voice. In order to do that, it needs to be in front of you. And this mic stand is utter trash. So I guess we've got to be kind of honest here. This microphone, it's not great. The self-noise, along with the horrendous pop and off-axis rejection, it's not doing itself any favors. Of course, there's also the shortcomings in interface. Yet, why is it I'm standing my ground? Why am I still recommending this microphone? Well, one of the biggest comments I get on things like the mic bundle kits is that, well, it's good enough. You just need to get started in audio, dude. But with a lot of that stuff, while the quality of signal might be okay, what you're trading off with is price. And there's a lot of scenarios like this around the $100 to $200 mark, including the Blue Yeti itself. As for this thing, it's unapologetically simple, and it's not overpriced, which is a big deal. While you aren't going to become a voiceover star or get any kind of narration job, at least it isn't pretending to be anything more than it is. Another question I get almost daily is, well, what's a good cheap mic? And that's an almost impossible question to answer because good and cheap rarely go hand in hand. However, this microphone does have to come up. Sure, you do have a lot of options around $100, and they will all be good enough. But if you're looking at just getting into audio and you just need your voice to be heard, there really is no other microphone that offers more price to performance than this one. So my recommendation is, if you're just getting into audio and you have about $100 to spend and you're just dead set on USB, well, you could buy this microphone and start the learning curve of podcasting or streaming, and then later on down the road, save up for a more professional setup once you get the hang of it. It's a much better scenario than going out and buying the higher end of entry-level gear and then ending up just upgrading it anyways. Kind of a waste of money that way. That said, if you disagree, hit me up down below. But if you're going to disagree, at least come armed with some sort of option. There will be links down in the video description if you want to check it out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.